Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know me, my name is Trey, also known as J9 for J9's Art online. I'm an artist slash illustrator, and I'm learning how to improve in hopes to become a full-time artist one day. These dreams, however, seem far-fetched at the moment. I can't help but feel behind in my trade. If you guys have been along with me throughout my journey, then you already know I kind of went headfirst into the anime convention scene. This was an incredible yet humbling experience for me. Before going to these shows, I consider myself above average in skill for art. However, after attending these shows, meeting some incredibly talented artists, I realized just how far behind I actually am. I started drawing at a very young age, around 5. Back then, and honestly, still to this day, I used art as a way to handle my overactiveness, or ADHD, in places where I'm supposed to be quiet, pay attention, and not make a scene. It was really hard for me to stay focused and still. Places like school or church made me feel really unsteady, as I greatly dislike sitting in one place for too long. My dad, a pretty smart guy, one day in church he noticed me getting really uncomfortable with sitting still. So, to distract me, he quickly grabbed a pen and paper from his notebook and started to draw for me. He was drawing a lion. Now, when I was a kid, lions were my favorite animals. I watched The Lion King basically every day. Before this day, I had no idea my dad could even draw. I didn't know he was a good artist, but he drew the lion almost effortlessly. This greatly intrigued me, and before I knew, church was almost over. It wasn't long before my dad bought me my own set of pencils and paper to keep me busy during church. I would spend most of my time trying to recreate this lion and other animal drawings that he made for me. I also started to draw in class, making little eyeballs and little doodles on the edges of the paper while the teacher taught their lesson for the day. This small change helped me focus quite a bit more and kept me calm during those long hours sitting in one spot. In fact, I still use this up to graduation in high school. Art has always been a grounding tool for me in my life. I built such an obsession with drawing that I started to draw all the time. In fact, it got to a point where I'd be drawing at dinner, in the car, I'd stay up late and make terrible comics based on anime my uncle watched. I even decided to take art as an elective in high school for 4 years straight. That way I got to draw art for an hour every day for 4 years without anyone second guessing me. Still, one day I ended up giving it all away. I ended up quitting. My upbringing was that of royal lifestyle in Mississippi. I grew up 2 young parents who had me, couldn't really afford the finer things in life. They had to spend most of the time working on providing for the family. It was me and my sisters for the longest time, and then my 2 brothers came along, equaling about 7 total siblings. I grew up wanting a lot of things, but learning to never ask. As an older brother, I didn't want to make my parents worry too much about me because I know that they had to focus on the younger siblings a little bit more. I didn't want to be a burden. So once I graduated high school, I made up my mind that I would go into college and find a really good job so that I could support my family without having to struggle as much as my parents did. Although I like to say that I do appreciate the struggles that my parents went through. It helped teach me a lot of things about life and money and love. Now, to get this job that was going to help provide for me and my future family, I selected a program that required me to have to go into a post-grad degree, meaning like master's to doctoral degree, which can be pretty competitive to get through. Mine specifically required really high GPAs, lots of volunteer hours, letters of recommendation, several medical observation hours, and on top of that I had to work because I wasn't working or I wasn't asking for money from my family because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't a burden on them. So with all that together, I gave up on art, which ended up being a terrible mistake on my part. Yes, in the end of it all, I ended up succeeding. I got into the program. Now I have a stable enough job. But It wasn't long until after graduation, when I'd done all the things that I set my mind to and put all my time into, no longer having time to be put into those things, that I realized how much I missed art and how much I missed the thing that I used for grounding myself and keeping myself focused, honestly. That part of me that gave me freedom of expression. Oh, it was around 7 years total that I stepped away from it. The one thing I loved the most, I gave up on to get into that stable career, but I ended up losing myself a lot in that process. It was around 2020 actually, when COVID hit, that I was forced to sit down with my thoughts and just the loneliness of like not having anything that I had to work for, where I considered making time to draw. I started watching a lot of YouTube. Sam Does Arts, Ross Draws, since I had lots of free time, and I just really fell in love with the way that they colored and illustrated their pieces. It brought a lot of emotion to me, and I just enjoyed every new work that they brought out. Gave me inspiration and motivation that I had lost a long time ago, and made me kind of appreciate digital art a little bit, something that I never considered over traditional. It wasn't soon after that I invested into a Wacom Intuos tablet, the little one that doesn't have a screen, and then I downloaded Krita for my desktop, free program, because I didn't have the money yet to invest in something like that. I had just graduated. I started by making portraits of my classmates since it was graduation, as a gift to them. So practicing, a way to practice and a way to give something as well. Practicing portraits of classmates and good friends that I met throughout the years of school, and this quickly snowballed. Before I knew it, I was again back to drawing pretty much all the time. However, I'm always thinking about all the experience and knowledge I missed out on. The courses I could have taken in college, the people I could have met, the skills I could have developed over the 7 years. Now, here I am, trying to become a successful artist, but I feel so behind, and I feel like I'm having to struggle to catch up and make better, higher quality artworks. Now, the time I spent over the last 2 years going to these shows and trying to understand how it all works has been relatively stressful for me. There have been a lot of self-doubt about what I'm doing. That's why I decided to step back on the shows for this year, just for a little while. I want to be better, yes, for the business, but also for me, because art is the one thing that I've had and was confident about up until the past 2 years ago. I happened to walk into these shows and see the amazing artwork everywhere, things that I couldn't even imagine making. And so it brought about a really negative mentality. So instead of staying in that negative mentality, I want to learn to use the amazing artwork that I see in person and online as motivation and inspiration, like I did before I tried selling it. The last thing I want to do now is give up on my craft. It keeps me grounded and helps me calm all the noise from the outside world. I just have to figure out how to fight the self-doubt that has rooted itself inside my head and keep it from further sabotage. The goal is one day to be an artist who motivates and inspires, just like I was motivated and inspired by the others. Because art is my true passion, and it allows me to escape from any harsh reality I may be in. It gives me a sense of peace and control, while also showing me that sometimes being a little out of control and letting the process take you can really be such an amazing thing. You probably noticed at the beginning of the video, but I'm working on my website once again. I plan to start marketing consistently over the next week or so, and in the March I want to open up my first launch. If you guys would like to support, I'd be grateful. However, don't feel like you have to buy anything, only if there's something you genuinely resonate with. I want to grow. I can't do that if I'm not giving quality. The honesty helps a lot, so keep a lookout on Instagram and YouTube. If you love something, please don't give up on it. Don't sacrifice your core self to be something else. You have passion, please hold on to it and don't give up. Do what makes you, you. If you're still listening, just wanted to say, I love you guys, and I hope everyone is doing things that makes them happy. Thanks for watching. Till next time.